back with another brow video. So what happened from the first time I talked to you about microblading to now? So if you already jumped the gun, you got microblading done, or if you're still waiting to hear about what happened, then this video is for you. So keep watching because I'm gonna tell you what happened during the 6 weeks to this touch-up. Microblading part 2. I talked to you in the first video about when I tried microblading, and now I'm back for round 2 because I just did my touch-up. I'm so fresh and so clean now. I got my eyebrows microbladed. After you get them microbladed, you cannot touch your face. You can't wash your face. Forget about that luxurious shower where you dip your head in the water. That's not happening. You can't do that. Yoga, you can't really work out. You're supposed to cut down the working out and the sweating that's happening. Oh, you leave the appointment and your eyebrows are tingling. You want to scratch them. You can't scratch your eyebrows. That's another thing. They might give you like a little bitty packet. This little bitty packet is going to save your life. So if you have one of these, it's just like a little healing ointment, protects minor cuts and wounds, blah, blah, blah. Your girl should give you one of these. If they start itching, you want to scratch, you're just going to put a little bit on your eyebrows. And that way they can heal properly. They'll feel a little bit better. You'll get a little bit of relief. Post-appointment, no eyebrow filling in, no makeup, no putting water in your face, no crazy exposure like right in the sun, no crazy sweating. It's just like really some aftercare there. Like you may not think, but it is. You can't just like walk out and then you wipe them and then you're like all ready to go. Girl, that's not how that works. This is a process. And that's something that nobody talks about, that someone should tell you before you get microblading. What do you actually want to know before you try microblading? Okay, no, it's a process. It's not like a Cinderella bippity boppity boo moment. It's a journey. So after this little journey is happening, I'm like, oh, I can't go to yoga, I can't sweat. Like, what's going on now? So then it starts flaking. This is like round 2. It starts flaking, and I'm just like really trying not to get that flakiness off. Crazy, I know. That's what happens in between round 1 of microblading before you go to your second appointment during this whole 6-week process. The 6-week process is over, and what happened next? So we know what's gonna happen. We're gonna go through the paperwork. We're gonna remove the makeup. We're gonna brush. We're gonna clean up those brows because we didn't go back to our second appointment with perfect brows. No, because we learned in the first appointment that we didn't need to do that. We're just sitting pretty, we're chatting, we got our girl talk on. And then, you know, we're on with it. We're doing facial mapping. We're seeing what's going on here because, you know, maybe we still need to map some stuff out. We're doing some trimming and, you know, the same deal goes. Numbing cream. The first pass happens and I'm like, this hurts. She's telling me not to wince. I tried so hard not to wince, but it still hurt. I'm telling you, it hurts. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I think it hurt. To be honest, like I thought that in the second appointment, maybe it wouldn't hurt as much, but it still hurt in the second appointment. So yeah, if you're gonna get your eyebrows microbladed, just know that the pain is the same when you go back 6 weeks later. It's not like suddenly you're used to it or anything. Maybe you're a little bit different, but if it hurt the first time, I guarantee it's gonna hurt again. And after the second pass, it did feel better and I stopped jumping as much, but I was a little tear baby in the first pass still. All that is pretty much the same. And what really was important for me and what might be important for you is if it's darker. So after the first appointment, it is gonna look darker right away. Like the next 2 days, they'll look dark and maybe they'll get even darker. So it's really important when you get microblading done that you talk about the shades. And if you want a certain darkness, now this darkness isn't to mean more dramatic. Don't get confused about that. It is really just about like the color, the pigment. So it's gonna lighten up after that first stage of getting darker, it lightens up again. So that's why in the 6-week period, you have to go back and they do the same thing thing just to re-go over everything and make that pigment stick. In the touch-up appointment, we do the same thing over again, and we go over it in hopes that the pigment will stick in and it'll just stay as fresh, not like more dramatic, not like the shape is going to change. She's doing the same shape. She's going over the same shape that she already did. It's a little fine tuning, and then she's gonna put more pigment into your brow. You're gonna have more pigment, and that's what that is. It's not to say you're gonna get more dramatic. So when I went back, I actually said, I really like how it looked when it was getting a little bit darker. Can we do that? And at that point, you and your brow artist can say whether or not you're gonna go a little bit darker, but she probably will tell you the same thing. It's not gonna make it like more dramatic. It's not gonna make it micro shading. Remember, it's not micro shading. It's just going to make the pigment stand out a little bit more, and it'll be a little bit more darker in the color. That was really important to know. Other things that's important for you to know in the 6-week touch-up. If you had a scar that you were trying to cover, or there was a certain part of your brow that was not growing as much because maybe there's some scar tissue. So what happened with my scar? You can kind of see it. So it's right here. You can still see it. So we talked about it, and she said, you know, there's scar tissue there. It depends on whether or not the pigment is really going to stick in there. And it depends. It's different for each person. It depends how deep that scar tissue goes. So I've had this for years. It's before I can remember it, but I was very young. And for whatever reason, the pigment kind of kicks out there. So she went over it, and she went over it, and then later when it was over, she went over it a little bit more. So in my case, I may have to go back sooner than you may have to go back, because right there the pigment may kick out, and that's just something that is going to depend on the person. So if you're like me and you wanted to get your microblading done because of that scarcity in your eyebrow, because of maybe something that happened, maybe there was an accident, stitches, what have you, just know that it may not fix it permanently. And that's not the, you know, the brow artist's fault. It's just scar tissue, and it's just something that you should know. Now, I don't know if micro shading will fix it, but in my honest opinion, probably not, because scar tissue is scar tissue and pigment is pigment, and I don't think that that's gonna make it stick even more, you know, just because I get the one that's more dramatic. So that's one thing that you should know. Am I happy with my brows? That's probably the most dying question, right? Am I happy with it? Am I happy that I tried microblading? Yes, I'm very happy that I tried microblading. I have been dealing with these sparse brows for so long, filling them in, and I kind of suck at filling my eyebrows, and I hate having to ask everyone to do it. But after going through this process, do I have perfect brows that will never need to be filled in? The answer is no. Am I still happy with my eyebrows? Yes, because it is a journey, it's a process, and it's so much more enhanced. It's so much more full. I have a shape. I had like zero shape before. So I'm so happy that I started this whole process with my eyebrows, and it's a little bit versus a lot. And I think that's a very big, very important thing to consider when you're going to get anything done. Do you want to jump the gun and get something that's like light years ahead? Or do you want to do a gradual small process and see what starts to grow on you? And I feel like that's exactly what I have now. I have a shape, I have something that I can kind of maintain, and now when I fill in my brows, it's going to be just a little bit of enhancement versus me drawing them all in completely, if that makes sense. If that's you, then let me know. Maybe I'm not the only one, but I'm always like, oh, I don't want to have to draw them in completely. Like, I just need a base to go off. All right, I'll see you in the next video when I talk to you about the pros and the cons of microblading. Bye.